Well, with 3 commissioners and a voice who claims to be Mark Matthews, we'll bring the meeting to order. Invocation.
I don't see. That's a problem.
Okay. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any changes in the agenda? With that, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes for June 20th meeting.
I move to approve the minutes from June 20th meeting.
Did you even read them?
Yeah, I've read them a couple times.
Okay. I have a motion from Mark,
Second from Christie.
a second from Christie. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Financial matters, appropriation ordinance number 12.
I have a question on the check for hoods for $72,423.40 or whatever it was. I didn't remember the boiler being that high, but how much was the boiler? Or is that what that was for? That's what I thought it was for.
Part of it is the boiler. Let me bring up the exact amount. There's several other invoices on it.
There's also a substantial one for installing the electrical for the pool slide.
Hello?
Is that on there?
We're checking on that voice.
Oh, okay, okay.
You might have to read my numbers.
It was the boiler and the warranty, the extra warranty, and installing the electrical for the pool slide.
Combination of boiler, the electrical for the pool slide, and also the warranty.
Okay.
And
All
several
right.
other small invoices.
And a couple of other small invoices on it.
Okay.
That answer your question, sir?
Yeah.
Okay. I got a question on 105-8268. What hats? What was the hats? From Wild Side. Great.
Our ball caps.
Oh, okay.
Got one back here.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, do I have a hat?
Right here. It's
Oh, I love that, yeah. And there's sunglasses with it? Thanks, just kidding.
I move to approve appropriation ordinance number 12.
I have a motion by Christie to approve. Do I have a second? Keaton has got a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Public comments. With none, we'll move on to new business. Police Department vehicle.
Hello, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. Should have approval for vehicle purchase in your packet, and we are seeking approval of a 2017 be a Ford Explorer, or a police interceptor SUV is what they call them, but it's a police package Explorer from the Highway Patrol. It's a used vehicle that one of their local troopers, Wade Van Meter, used. I did speak with Wade about the vehicle. When he turned it in, it had 49,742 miles on it. And he said the only work they did on it was the back brakes. Otherwise, it was just oil changes. So it's a really good vehicle for him. So it does have the remaining 5-year, 100,000 mile extended service plan left on it.
So is that like 2 years of that warranty left? So 2017, they usually turn them over after 2 years, is that correct?
Yeah, they drive them to just under 50,000 miles.
Oh,
I did say
with
it's
the number of-
2017, right?
Yeah, you did.
Right,
And then
right.
5 year.
Okay.
But we put about 20, 25 on our vehicles a year, right?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Is this replacing one or are we adding one?
Yes, it's replacing an '07 Chevy Impala that we have.
Okay.
It's getting in pretty bad shape.
Yep.
It's already had the engine and transmission replaced, and it's probably going to have to go back in for more work. So,
Well, when we get this, then will we keep the other one then
no,
around, or we'll get rid
no,
of it?
we're going to
Sell
put
that?
it on auction and give it away.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Based on the information that was sent to us before the meeting, I would make a motion for approval for a police patrol vehicle replacement, the 2017 Explorer from the Kansas Highway Patrol.
I have a motion from Mark. Do I have a second?
No, second.
Keaton seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Very much.
I'm only catching about every third word of what you guys are saying. I don't know what the deal is, but I'm only not getting everything.
It's pretty hard to hear on there.
Yeah,
Sam, do you want to turn the phone this direction? Maybe we can catch a little bit more of that.
there, we'll try it. Anything important, I'll let you know, Mark, if that's who you are. Signage at the Heritage Trail. Heritage Trail. I'll get
Earlier
that.
this May, following a community contest, we named the walking trail in the South Development Area Heritage Trail, and we had indicated at that time that we wanted to pursue some more signage, and signage would be to welcome people to the trail, to identify distance markings, and hope to incorporate that into a tourism effort by explaining some of the different historical snippets that are available throughout Concordia, as a way to promote just historical education and moving around Concordia and going to see some of our local sites. So we did work with Wildside Creative, worked with Mark Hedrick to design a very attractive sign. You can see some pictures on the next few pages. Something that I'm told is community art, because if it's community art, it spurs a conversation or a question. Why are the poles slanted? Why did we have an arch? Why did we pick colors of that nature? Something of that nature. And, it'll be black steel poles with a green canopy and a green arch on the welcome sign. The canopy for the arch will match the canopies that are already out there over the existing green benches. We already have black light poles out there, so that's how we incorporate the black steel post. The other smaller signs will be for wayfinding directional signage. So our intent is, let's say you're entering the trail at 20th and Broadway, for example. You'll have arrows pointing you toward the college, toward the restaurants along 81. If you enter at the trailhead, it'll direct you toward downtown, toward the Nazareth Convent, or toward, again, the restaurants on 81. If you come in off of 21st and Broadway next to Pizza Hut, it'll direct you again where you can go to downtown and then where you can go back toward the college. We also have some small distance marking signs coming up, and then those are so that there's a loop down there, and the loop makes a little bit over 1 mile, so we'll need 4 signs total to indicate a quarter mile, half mile, 3/4 of a mile, and a full mile. And we'll have those two-sided so that you can either walk clockwise or counterclockwise around the trail and still know where you're at along the distance. Our ultimate goal, we're going to leave space for that right now, but the ultimate goal is to have the little QR codes on the sign that you can scan with your smartphone and be able to lead you to a little bit more information about those historical facts that are shown on the signs. Mark is working with folks to get those fabricated, and our goal with him was to stay local here in town, so that's why we chose to work with Mark. And tonight we would ask for your approval for this proposal as shown to get the sign started. The one other approval that we have to get is through KDOT. One of the small distance marker signs, you'll see the 4-foot tall sign there on the left side of that sheet, is going to be placed in the right-of-way along Highway 81. So we're currently working with KDOT to get those approvals going to make sure we can have them next to the sidewalk. If we're not able to have them next to the sidewalk, we have to put them far enough off the right-of-way, and it'll be so far off the sidewalk it won't really be useful at that point in time. So we're working with them to get that approved as well. Once that's approved, then we'll give the green light to Wildside and have them go ahead and begin fabrication. Lead time is about 4 to 5 weeks from commission approval and giving that notice to proceed. And then we'll have to work with our local public works department because they'll be the ones that are installing the foundations. We'll design the foundations using some engineering guidelines that will make sure that they are fit for these signs for our local wind loads and for our soil conditions here. The signs will be bolted down to the concrete foundations, and what that helps us out with is in the event that a sign is damaged or in the event that we need to dig somewhere along the trail and have to relocate a sign, we won't damage the entire sign. We could unbolt it, pick it up, and just have to redo the foundation and put the same sign back down. So happy to answer any questions the commission might have.
What's the welcome sign?
The welcome sign is the one on the first page, and it's a larger sign. It'll have a canopy over it. It'll be placed near the trailhead, which is around the right adjacent to Pawnee along State Street before you get to the intersection with Campus and College Drive. And it's going to say, you know, welcome to Heritage Trail. That's where we'll give credit to Larry Urey for his vision. We'll give credit to Levon Brousseau for her contribution to the KDOT grant. It'll show a map showing kind of some wayfinding around there, and then that'll be the start of the historical snippet on that sign.
So, what, is there a design on it, just besides the word? And what's that look like?
We're working through the content that's going to be on the face. We don't have to have that decided yet to be able to
Okay.
begin fabrication. We still have another 4 to 5 weeks to get the details of what the content on the sign ironed out.
We'll be able to see that before they put it on.
We certainly can. We can certainly bring it back to you if you'd like.
I just like to kind of see what it's going to look like.
Sure.
I have a question. I saw that, and I'm glad that Mark's here, he can probably answer this, but the signs will be painted with automotive gloss, black and green. So what's the durability? What do you expect with that?
It'd be the same as.
I'm not getting any of the presentations, but I do want to make some comments when you're ready for them.
Okay. We've got Mark answering a question about the durability of automotive paint.
It'd be the same as your car.
Okay.
They have the gloss paint and have the clear coat over it. The idea behind it over powder coated was so that if ever gets a mower throws a rock out or something, you just touch it up. With powder coat, it would break the powder coat, and therefore you have to remove the whole thing, sand it down, and repowder coat it.
Got it. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah.
Mark, what was your question?
Well, I just looked at this, and I know I'm going to say some things probably aren't too popular, but I think that we need to look at less expensive options and get competitive quotes, because I think that walking trail is a great thing, but I think $10,500 or $10,446 is a lot of money right now with all the infrastructure things we have to do, and I think we need to show the public that we're a little bit more fiscally responsible. We're still recovering from the money and the spending on the plaza right now, and we can't keep spending money on these types of things while we have infrastructure things needed. So I'm opposed to spending this type of money on this project right now. I'm really not concerned about Larry Urey's vision and what he wanted to do. He's not here anymore. Can't say I really agree with most of the things that he ever did, but I just want to make sure that we really think this one through before we go out and spend another $10,000 or $11,000 on something that's not going to make the roads better and everything else.
Okay, so did I hear you correctly, Mark, that you'd like us to go seek out some competitive quotes for similar sign design, fabrication, and installation?
I don't think he can hear.
It's really hard to hear on there.
Can you guys relay my message to
Mark?
please?
Mark? Hang on. I'll hold a
Just
minute.
hit the speaker.
Put it on
Just
hold a
hit the
minute.
speaker.
Or hit speaker.
I do it.
Where the heck is it? I'm not used to this phone.
Hey, Mark?
Hear me?
Yep, hear you now.
Yeah.
So the question back from Amy was, you go out and get competitive other bids on the similar design, or should we be looking at different design as well?
I don't think we need to have places for people to sit down and go that expense. I think we need to have signs out there that basically say what they need to do, and I think we, hopefully can get that done for $1,500 to $2,000. And then we need to go to more places than Wildside because we need to get the best pricing. But I don't think we need to go to the expense we're going to. I know it would look nice and it's very professional, and The designs are really nice, but I just don't think we can justify spending $11,000 on 3 benches.
So,
This didn't include benches, did it?
no, the benches are already out there. The benches were already done as part of the walking trail project.
The benches are already out there?
Yes.
Yeah, this is
Yes.
just
No, I
for,
saw benches out there. To me, I guess I thought that it was purchasing additional ones. So if it's just
No.
doing the signage, then I guess we've already got the benches. We're just doing the signage. Then I really do have a problem for $11,000.
Okay. To my knowledge, there's not another sign design contractor within the city limits. Does anybody else know of anyone that we can go with?
There's not another what?
sign design contractor within the city limits.
Oh, well, we can go outside the city limits.
Okay.
I know we want to buy in Concordia, but we got to keep people honest in Concordia.
Okay.
Now, is any of this that
And
we're
just
that we're
blindly
talking?
give somebody, one person a business in Concordia, or we're just asking to get screwed.
Is this still on some of the donated money that we have?
No, this would be
This will
separate.
be from
What
ours?
we're proposing is out of the general fund dollars.
Okay.
And the rationale behind that is that we've received a lot of grant funding either through KDOT or gifts from Levon for this. And one of the things when you go out for grants and you ask for money from, one of the things that they ask for is to see your own funding sources and how much you are contributing elsewhere. So we have money set aside from Levon that's left over that we're going to be using toward finishing the lighting project, the leg of the trail that goes toward 20th and Broadway. Because of some design limitations that we have with that lighting, the trail goes down part of the floodway. We have to back the light bases up off the floodway such that we need to do extended arms over the sidewalk to get the light throw that we need. It's going to cost more than the $10,000 that we have left of her money to put toward lighting. So my thought process there is we could have time to go out and ask for more grant funding to help us out with the lighting. So if we can show that we are contributing some of our own dollars toward the signage project, then that would look better to help us go back for grant funding toward the lighting. Does that make sense at all?
It does, but, you know, as much as I think it's neat in the whole thing, I mean, I can't argue with Mark. I mean, you know, we're coming up with budget time, and we got a lot of infrastructure to do, and if the public sees, here we go again, and then we come close on budgets, or we have to cut back some of the infrastructure repairs on it. I just, you know, I can't argue with his logic on that.
All right, so we'll go back and we'll get some competitive quotes and we'll bring this back to you then
All right.
for a decision.
So are we going to open this up for bid then? Is that what you think?
It's my understanding that under statute, and Justin, help me out here, that for cities, we don't have a certain threshold that we have to go out to bid a project at unless it hits that statutory threshold of a $250,000. So we technically don't have to do a public advertisement and a bid letting for a project of this scope. But we can go out and solicit competitive quotes and ask for somebody to give us a price for a similar design and fabrication.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you know, whether outside or inside, if we could get a design that would start and do its function. And I agree with Mark, it's something a lot less price. And then things start turning around and the whole thing again, and then that's something we could go back and redo the way we want it later on. But
And I completely agree with you and understand that we want to make sure we're spending the money wisely. My concern is I only want to do this once. I want to make sure that we're getting the right design and a durable product the very first time.
Well,
And that's looking for the best value is what we want to do. So, but I do understand the concern about
yeah, I think that's,
wanting to make sure that we're being.
yeah, I
good
agree
stewards
with
of
Mark,
money.
it's bad timing.
Well, I have to confess that when I opened this up and looked at the price tag, it took me aback that we got basically 4 signs. Is that correct?
No, we have a welcome sign. We have a 1 3-sided dimensional sign, and that one is extremely custom, trying to get the angles
Right.
to fit to make sure it's going to balance and stay standing. The welcome sign has a canopy. We have 2 smaller 2-sided directional signs, and then we also have 4 small 2-sided
Okay.
distance signs.
So
8 signs.
8 signs for almost $11,000. It was a surprise to me, but I have rarely been in the market for signage, so I don't know what it costs, obviously. Mr. Hedrick, would it be possible to get another bid from you as well? Is that something you'd be interested in doing?
As far as, you mean, a reduced scope for the signs?
Whatever it would take.
Or maybe a different design?
Well, at this point, my numbers are in the public domain.
Exactly.
So I can't be competitive ever again.
Mm-hmm.
And trust me, it's actually a very competitive book.
Right, you know, I don't argue that at all, Mark, but to me, it just is now the best time for the city to spend that much money on it. And that's, no, I'm not saying that price is out of line or anything else. Probably not.
Well,
But the fact is, whether we can,
Suggesting I'm trying to screw the city doesn't exactly sit real well.
well, that's not everyone's comment, so. But my point is, it's just the function of the amount of money and where the city's standing right now, and not a function of if that price is out of line or not. And I hope you, I mean that.
You know, if worse come to worse, is this something that we could break up and do our smaller initial signs for the actual trail first? And then look into doing our bigger welcome sign to help break this up, you know, in the point where we're at now?
We could. A lot of times what happens when we have that is that we actually end up increasing our total cost overall because we technically have a remobilization of the
Right.
fabrication and design, but that is one option, yes.
You know, I mean,
But you know, if we were in a better situation, spending money at a different time, a few bucks more, it'd be worth it than trying to spend this much at this time.
That's one thing I can explore with Mark too, is if we phase this, what would happen? So, commissioners, from where you're standing, what do you think the priority of the signs would be for you? Which signs would you want to do this year, and which signs would you be okay with waiting for?
I don't know what the mile markers.
What about them? Wait or get it done now?
I'm sorry, what?
You said the mile markers, so would you propose to wait on those or to get them done now?
I probably the mile markers should be the first to go up.
Okay.
People going around.
First priority.
Yeah. I would think that should be the first priority.
I mean, most of your money's gonna be spent on your welcome sign. It's the big custom. I mean, you could probably do 2 of them before you did your welcome sign and still have.
And the
You know,
canopy part's expensive too.
Right. I mean, that's where most of your money is.
Sure.
It's custom. It's awesome. So it's going to be a little more expensive.
Yeah.
But we could do all the smaller signage that we're going to do anyways, get it taken care of, and then proceed with the larger sign a little later on down the road.
So you do the distance signs
Yeah, I
first?
do the, you know, like your mile marker signs, your directional signs, and what's the triple post directional sign?
It'll be at the intersection of the trail, so where the loop meets and then the trail leg from 20th and Broadway meets.
The
It
mile
makes
marker
a
signs
triangle.
going to be regular signs, or are they going to be painted on the sidewalk?
They'll be regular signs. They are the shortest sign in your packet, the 4-foot tall signs, and they will have 2 sign faces on them, so you could walk the trail from either direction and still know what distance you're at.
That come across to you, Mark?
No.
They're going to be the 4-foot signs in your packet. They're going to be double-sided.
That,
So one of the reasons that we were looking at doing this now, as opposed to waiting and maybe seeking out some grant funding and doing it later, was because we wanted to have a ribbon cutting for this trail since we had gone ahead and named it. And so one of the thought processes behind that is you would do that at the trailhead where your welcome sign was and have a photo opportunity in front of your welcome sign. So if we wait on the welcome sign, would that change our plans for ribbon cutting? Would you want to wait and open the trail officially until after we had all the signage up?
I would think if we're going to break this up into a couple of budget years, you would want to go ahead and still have the official opening of this trail. I mean, that's my opinion anyway. We want
So we
to,
do.
I don't know. I don't know how that would be perceived. Again, here we go. We just finished with a poll. And we got some static on that. And now we're going to turn right around and have another ribbon ceremony on a walking trail. And,
Which we already committed to.
well, I know, it's there. But I mean, to go back, that'll be the first thing, well, how much more have we put into it? And then we're going to start right away on it. And we still have other things that we said we'd get done, and we're coming in a budget. And, I think when it come down to it is, even on the small signs and the whole thing at this time, I think what we ought to do is reopen this discussion after we have our budget and see exactly where we stand. Since this will be coming out of the general fund. And then we can actually look and say, okay, we're still going to get accomplished what we planned on doing. And we still have this much excess money, so we can go this far in it. But I think until we really get into the budget, I don't see us spending, because we can afford to spend any money on it.
Does it make any difference that we have money
I
available
agree.
in our budget for this fiscal year, and what we're talking about is budget time is for next fiscal year? Does that make any difference
Well,
at all?
to me,
the consideration?
don't. To me, I just want to look at the budget and what we can plan on doing, because like everything else, you stand there, we think budget, but when we start really digging into it, well, we need this and this and this. And, we also got the organizations that do a great service to the community that are looking for us for money. And so we need to just sit down and do everything and find out where we stand as a city. And then say, okay, do we really have excess money that we can put that into this year or even next year?
Honestly, our employees this year have they've sacrificed this year because their insurance benefits are paying more for their insurance and getting less. And so, I agree with you, Sam. I think that for multiple reasons, we need to back off on this.
Okay. All right. We'll hold then.
You okay with that, Mark?
I didn't get all that. What are we going to do?
Christie kind of agrees with us as well and feels that we should just back off on this thing completely until after we go through budgets and find out exactly how do we stand.
I agree.
All righty. You okay with that, Keen?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay,
Okay. All right.
that's what we'll do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, supplemental agreement, professional engineering consultants.
I'm going to give this one a shot, and Jeremy's going to provide some technical support if I start using the wrong words for this. So as you know, we've been going through phase one of improvements out of the wastewater treatment plant, and it's taken a lot longer than is planned. The last time we came to you with a change order, we indicated that it was going to take a lot more days, and we changed substantial completion from April 10th to May 29th. We changed final completion from May 10th to June 22nd. And what we're experiencing now is that APAC has now exceeded those dates. They did not fulfill contractual requirements of requesting a walkthrough from professional engineering consultants in time to establish that new substantial completion date as May 29th. So in layman's terms, that means that because they did not fulfill their contractual obligations, substantial completion was not established and has not yet been verified. So that means that we can now assess liquidated damages in the amount of $800 per day, which is what the contract stated, which we intend to do. A large portion of that reason that we intend to go back to that date is because professional engineering consultants, the contract that we signed with them, requires them to have on-site construction inspection for every day that APAC is working. And as a result of the delays by APAC, PEC has had to be out there each day an additional 43 days as of the date of this this memo that it was prepared for you. And so PEC is going to charge the city an additional $34,300. And the intent of those liquidated damages is to help cover the cost of additional construction inspection services. And so what we're asking you to do tonight is to approve the additional request of the additional cost for inspection services, the new supplemental agreement to PEC. The information in the memo is intended to show you how we intend to pay for that, which is by backcharging APAC for the liquidated damages. And it comes out that the city would come out positive $100 in that amount. So I hope that makes sense because we know that they're still not substantially complete at this point in time. They've also run into some other issues. We expect that there will be more information and more cost associated with this project coming down the line. But right now we're taking care of the additional 43 days that we know about and that we know how to handle. And again, the $800 per day liquidated damages that would be charged to APAC would then pass through the city's water treatment fund and would then pay these fees to PEC.
So how sure are we that APAC's gonna pay us the, be $34,400?
They're contractually obligated to.
No way they can get out of it? Justin?
No, I mean, it's in the contract, so if they don't want to pay it, we sue them. And it's, I mean, we'll sue them for breach of contract, so they'll pay it. I'm sure they will. I can't think of a reason why they wouldn't, because it's pretty clear cut.
And they've been notified properly through the engineering company.
Okay, so there's no loopholes in their contract.
Not that I would see at this time, no.
So in essence, this would be really a pass-through that the city picks up $100.
Yes.
I would move to approve the supplemental agreement from Professional Engineering Consultants for $34,300.
I have a motion from Keaton. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second by Christie. Any further discussion? You got any questions on that, Mark?
I didn't hear the discussion on, my only concern is just, and I think you guys covered it, I heard what, some of the things you were saying, Sam, is that the $34,400 or whatever that we're on the $800 a day is gonna cover the $34,300, and we feel comfortable with that?
That's what they say. It makes me nervous with our contracts of late, but they say they got it covered, so.
Yeah. It's, yeah, it makes me nervous too.
Okay.
I don't know what else we can do or what other rights we have,
If it's in the
so.
Mark, if it's in the contract, they agreed to it, we agreed to it, it's enforceable. So they're aware of it, they're aware of the issues that they've created that would trigger those liquidated damages, so I'm not worried about it. The contract's good, the contract's been reviewed, so we're on good footing there.
Okay.
So we can continue charging them for $800 a day if it keeps going past what we
Yes.
think it is, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Okay?
All right.
All right.
So like that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All
Aye.
opposed? All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on to the manager's report.
Got just a few quick things for you this evening. Bruno couldn't be here tonight, but he did help out Eureka, Kansas, that was hit by the F3 tornado last week, and he did go down there as part of the Heart of America chapter of building officials and did help out with assessment, damage assessment down there on Monday. So we appreciate his help. He said it was a devastating sight to see, but the damage could have been a lot worse. So he's glad to be able to go to help. Also, as you might have read in the news lately, KDOT did let bids for expansion joint repair on the overpass on Highway 81 just north of the K9 intersection here. Those are some of the expansion joints that I know Ron has discussed with you that have needed some repairs. We don't know yet when a start date is going to happen on that, but we do know that that KDOT is responsible for all project management of that project, including traffic control, and there's no match from the city, no local match required for the project expenses. It's 100% on KDOT to make those repairs. On June 11th, Governor Collier had announced via press release that KDOT had also restored funding for the federal funds exchange program from 75% to 90%. So I know we've had a lot of discussions about that recently and just wanted to share that with you. So again, it goes back to being the same amount of match, whether we leave our funds as federal funds or as if we exchange them for state funds. And recall our discussion that if we exchange those for state funds, we actually get more value for our dollar because we don't have as much federal red tape to go through.
So is that retro back?
No, going forward. All new contracts going forward, unfortunately, but that's kind of the way that it works.
Government's gonna give you more money.
Yeah. But it does help us stretch our dollars further, and the basis for that is that the governor recognizes that quality transportation infrastructure is essential to our own economy. So we do thank them for their work on that.
You should have told him he was too late.
Hey, you know what? We'll keep asking for that match, so it'll be fine. You'll see in your packet too that you have sales tax information for this quarter on it. Our sales tax revenue and I'm only talking about the city side of it, is down quite a bit from June of last year as well as from June of 16. However, if you look at the year-to-date numbers, we're right on track to be right at 50% midway through our year. So I think as long as we can maintain our levels from last year and the year before, we'll still end up about the same. Use tax was also down slightly as well, but as of right now, if you look year-to-date total, we're still on track to be about the same as where we were last year, so that is good news for us. So again, give the plug for buying local here, so we appreciate that. Are there any questions the commissioners has for me tonight?
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank Thank you. Commissioners. Keaton.
I've got nothing.
Christie.
I had somebody call me this week about some concerns regarding the airport park, and our park person isn't here, but we've talked about
I don't have
this.
anything.
Okay. Now be quiet. Okay, Christie.
We've talked about this before and have debated about whether or not we need to actually issue permits. What are we doing right now? I went out to check
Christie's asking
What we've
questions about
got
permits, Mark.
in the,
Okay.
out there, and it does say permit required somewhere.
Yeah.
And then there's a, something, it looks like it's been fairly recently done, where if they're gonna be there for over a week, over 5 days, they're supposed to give $100 a week.
Right.
Do we ever see anybody?
There's a lady out there now that's on her 3rd month, and, July, maybe 23rd, I'm gonna give her a letter and say that's her last day. She wants to live there. And there is a sign driving in that needs to come down that says permit required.
Yeah.
We don't have that.
Yeah.
I've talked to Ron about it, and we haven't really done anything about it yet, but it needs to come down.
Well, I don't know that there's ever been, I'm not aware of there ever having been a concern
Right.
expressed
There used to be
before.
little sticky tags that
Yeah.
were filled out and stuck up there, and then people didn't always do it. And so, I mean, they're staying free anyway. so-
Yeah.
But we go out and get the money, and we kind of check and see who's out there, and, Richard Vickers, makes it a regular habit to drive through and lets us know if somebody's overstayed,
Okay.
so.
So somebody's keeping tabs on
Yeah.
things out there. That's
Yeah.
good to know. But, and I drove out there myself. This week, I've spent a lot of time driving out there. And there's one in particular that's just kind of unsightly. And I've never been able to see that there was anybody there. And never a vehicle there. There's a boat. There's a
Maybe
boat
that's that
outside.
lady that's living out there.
Yeah, they're probably waiting for the lake. I don't know, but at any rate,
She didn't have a boat last I looked, so.
the one with the pickup topper that's in a truck bed, but there's no truck.
We'll go out tomorrow. and look.
Yeah, there's some,
Officer Vickers has spoken with that gentleman. He is homeless and staying there, but Vickers is wanting.
Okay.
To move him on if he needs.
so does he maybe not have a vehicle then?
There's a good chance he doesn't.
Okay.
So that's nice, but how long, do we make that a homeless park, or?
Well, that's not the purpose.
I know, that's not the purpose, but that's what I think we gotta be careful on.
Yeah,
I mean, I understand that, and I feel sorry for
right.
people like that and the whole thing, but it comes down to it, is the purpose, otherwise we start extending it,
Right.
and then we just leave ourselves open. We have to make up our mind one way or the other.
We've had to move quite a few people along that were just living in tents,
Really.
so.
Okay. Like I
Thank
said,
you. I'm glad that you have some knowledge of what's going on out there.
Yeah, it's a shame, but I don't know. We had some good events over the weekend, and Chief Voss was nice, kind enough to have the fire department out there at the neighborhood listening to her, and that was really, went over big with the kids and the whole thing. And I think that's sort of thing that really helps the community, and I think the community really appreciate that. I want to thank that. Staff comments.
Just kind of an update on the police chief situation. We've received several applications, so we'll be going through those and doing the background checks and starting that process here next couple weeks.
Very good.
How many did we get? Is there a number on that?
So far, 5, 6,
9, but 3 of them need to return some more
Okay.
Good. Anything further? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Christie, I have a motion.
I'll second.
Second by Keaton. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay.